So hello everybody, I am in Hyde Park today and I'm going to go and check out some of the Albert memorials that were made. I'm going to walk down into where World Fair, which was the South Kensington exhibition. I'm going to go past the Royal Albert Hall, which is a magnificent building. There is a whole alignment down in this kind of section of London, and if you look, I'm going to show on the maps, you can see it's just incredibly aligned. There's almost like a little sacred geometry in the layout of it all. And the Imperial College is being located there. There's lots of spires, some very interesting architecture along this whole way. Very fascinating area, and I think you're all going to enjoy this episode, so come along with me. I'm not far from where I did the Italian Gardens, which is sort of on the other side of the park. And I think there's a lot of lay points and nodes, this being one of them. Very possible that this was Tartarian architecture, but let's just put it at old world architecture, and because of the antennae that these batteries had. So this is called the Albert Memorial, and the official story that this was completed in 1872, with Albert being placed in the centre in 1876, commissioned by Queen Victoria in memory of Prince Albert. Were these some sort of energy centre? Maybe where the energy or frequency was coming out? What is below this ground? When we look at the maps, you can see there is a huge alignment stretching down to where the International Exhibition was held in 1862. And we're going to walk down through past the Imperial College, the Science Museum, and onto the Victoria and Albert Museum. All these buildings were apparently built in this 1800 period, but all are very suspect as we have very little or no building records to them. So were these buildings already here? This is the Royal Albert Hall, which was opened in 1871 by Queen Victoria, again in memory for Prince Albert. Now, of course, it's possible it was built in this 4-year period, but again, we are limited to only a few pictures. This is a very beautiful building and incredible design. It has an organ in the centre, and now this is used mainly for music concerts. But what was this in the old world? What if these buildings were some sort of generator, using the sound to create a certain resonance, creating a frequency to access another level of consciousness? When we look into the chronovisor, we can see that the organ had another purpose, to create some sort of field of sound. So many of these old world buildings had organs inside. Were these organs used to resonate at a certain frequency? What was their original purpose? Pure alignment here. This goes straight up to the Albert Memorial that we just saw. Down this way we've got the Royal College of Music straight ahead. This leads on to where the South Kensington exhibition was held. There are a lot of old parts to this college, but so much has been modernised and knocked down. In the centre you have the Queen's Tower, which is a 287-foot tower topped with a copper covered dome. The official story, this was built to mark Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee in 1887 and opened in 1893. Unfortunately, it was covered with scaffolding the day that I actually went to view this, and is under repair. But this was once a whole complex of buildings around this, but then they were knocked down in 1966. There are apparently 10 bells inside this tower, but I could not find any building records to this, with no construction photographs whatsoever. And you would think of something with so much beauty and architectural elegance that there would be at least something of a before and after photo. So you have the Imperial College and the Science Museum on the right, and this leads down to the Natural History Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum on Cromwell Road. This is the apparent site where the International Exhibition of 1862 was held. This World's Fair had over 6 million visitors and covered 27 acres of this area from Cromwell Road and upwards to the Imperial College. And all these buildings were built in this period. This spire particularly caught my interest, and this was again apparently built at the same time around 1862. This is part of the old world, what we're seeing here. This is the old world architecture, and I don't believe this was built in the 1860 period. I really do find it unbelievable, but yeah. It's quite a unique structure, and I reckon that this sits on the top of the entrance to the V&A, and this would have been some sort of temple, some stage. So no machinery. You will never see a building built like this now, but yet no machinery, just, you know, horse and wagon back then, and this building was achievable. It's quite incredible. So the International Exhibition of 1862, or the Great Exhibition of 1862, was held from the 1st of May until the 1st of November 1862, and was held at the South Kensington Museum, which is now the Victoria and Albert Museum. The exhibition aimed to showcase the industry and culture of countries from around the world and covered it, and it was held here at the V&A. The official story behind this expo, that it started planning in 1859, and it was intended to be a great event that would surpass the success of the Great Exhibition of 1851 in Hyde Park, which is just up the road. Again, the construction photographs are very, very suspect to such a grand building. The International Exhibition of 1862 displayed a wide range of exhibits, including products from various industries such as textiles, machinery, engineering and architecture. It also featured artworks, scientific inventions. The exhibits were categorized into different sections, including a fine arts court, machinery court and international courts representing different countries. One of the exhibits that stood out in the research of this international exhibition was the electric telegraph. This was used from the 1840s as an early base text messaging system that could send messages via this very interesting looking machine. But this electrostatic telegraph was first suggested in 1753, and it used static electricity. These devices became later known as the Morse code. You can see from looking inside the Victoria and Albert Museum how incredible this building is, and this was built in the 2-year period to hold the International Exhibition of 1862. When you walk around some of the rooms, it seems as if you are in a world fair. Is it possible that some of these items were already here, and what you're seeing are relics to what was once originally inside this building? Now, this completely conflicts with the narrative we have been given, that these items were brought here and exported from all over the world. Yes, there certainly were some, but looking at these arches just made me think, were these already here? Was this once some sort of temple or shrine? You can see on the map how there is this kind of geometry to this area, and these are definitely, I feel these are earth nodes, and they've certainly been tampered with and certain things done to them. I wouldn't say necessarily built for the positivity that they once were, and I'm not saying all this is Tartarian architecture, but it's certainly old world architecture where we look at the buildings today and how they're built and these deadening structures. It's very sad, and we've kind of gone a bit numb to this, really. And the question is, why do we look at these old buildings? Because they make us remember there is some very suspicious things in this period. This period of time is very bizarre, and this age we're living in today is all based around this history. and if we have false history, it can be very dangerous. The whole of London has got ley lines on it, and a lot of people just are completely anonymous to them, but there is ley lines running all over London. London is a major ley centre with nodes all over the place. But I just find it really interesting how you can identify a lot of these areas by certain structures, and whether or not they were built in the Victorian period or whatever the case is, that's still very suspect. You should still question that and really ask what was in them locations before, because there is so much history that's been built over, and you can just see it all over London. Things keep getting rebuilt, and after a certain period of time, it's just forgotten about. And these energy systems that have been, or structures that have been built on top, don't really benefit the health of humans, and it's quite important that we question all that with all the rise in mental health and all the stuff going on at the moment in the world. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. You can join the member section, and that's got a load more content, podcasts and all various content going up, and some good news as well. I've always got good news coming, some good things happening, so I'll keep you posted of all that. Please subscribe if you haven't, and until next week, I will see you then.